Today, we will use Python to write data from your laptop into a database on ElephantSQL, a cloud database service. First, we will prepare data on your computer according to a database table schema. Second, we will use Python to write the data from your computer to an ElephantSQL database instance. Lastly, we will also go through the basic setup, installing Python and some packages on your computer. This video is linked to another one where we create a database instance on ElephantSQL. Look out for that video on this channel. Let's begin. A quick introduction to ElephantSQL. ElephantSQL provides managed database as a service. It allows you to start a PostgreSQL database in minutes. Why use ElephantSQL? Setting up and managing databases can be expensive, especially if all you need is a small setup to start a hobby project. ElephantSQL allows you to start quickly and cheaply. Let's begin. You need to download the code repository to your computer. The repository is hosted on GitHub. Make a note of the link. You can download the code repository as a zip file from GitHub. If you are familiar with GitHub, you can clone this as well. Before we dive into the code repository, let's do the required setup. You can follow the below instructions in the README file of the repository. You need Python and some packages to run this code. To check if your computer already has Python installed, try this command on the terminal Mac, or command prompt Windows. Mac comes pre-installed with Python. Windows users, though, will need to install Python. To install Python on your Windows machine, follow the instructions in the YouTube link. Go ahead, pause this video to get this done. The default Python installation may not have some of the packages needed to run this code. Install the required packages using the pip command on the terminal or command prompt, as shown. Pause the video and install the packages. To access ElephantSQL services, you need to open an account. Log in to ElephantSQL via your Google or GitHub account. Create a new database instance. Give the instance a name, choose the free plan and select the region. Review and create the instance. Go back to the home screen and click on the database instance you just created. See the instance details. You will need these details to connect to the database instance from Python. Now that the database instance is up, let us move into Python to create the database tables. The code repository needs a configuration file that stores the details of the database instance you have created. It is important to keep the details in a config file, separate from the main code. This ensures that as I pass the code to you via GitHub, I do not compromise my instance details. The GitHub repository has a file called config-template.py. Open this file. Edit the file to add the details of your database instance from the Details tab on ElephantSQL. Go ahead, pause the video to do it. Save the file as config.py. We are all set to run the code. Before we do that, let us understand the business context of the database we are going to create. We are going to create the database for a sales organization. Like any sales organization, this one has customers, products, orders, payments and employees. The data is stored in what is called a relational database. Each entity, like customer, is stored in a table. The relationship between the various entities, or tables, is shown in the picture. There are 8 tables in the database schema. We will need the data for each table in a separate CSV file. The data folder has the 8 CSV files. The layout of the CSV file has to follow the table structure created. The table structure is in the table_creation.sql file. Let us take the customers table as an example. The first column is customer number, which is an integer. The second is the customer name. This can have maximum 50 characters. The CSV file customers follows the same structure, as you can see. The customer number is the primary key. This has to be unique. No 2 rows can have the same value for this field. Move to the orders table. Notice the foreign key constraint at the bottom. This means that each customer number in the orders table must be present in the customers table as well. Go through the rest of the table structure yourself and match it to the prepared data. Well, it is time to run the code. Now for the exciting part. Running the code. The main code is in the Insert Data Tables, py file. You can follow the instructions in the README file. To run the code, go to the command prompt on Windows or terminal on Mac. Navigate to the directory with the Insert Data Tables, py file. Ensure that the same directory also has the config.py file. To add data to the tables, the empty tables must exist in the database. Create the tables by running the create drop tables, py file as shown. Follow my earlier video titled, Create a Database Instance on the Cloud, for more details on this part. Now let us add the data. Run the Insert Data Tables py file as shown. Congratulations, the data from the CSV files has been inserted into the database. You can see the confirmation of the number of records in each table. Exciting, isn't it? Let us understand the code a bit more to wrap this up. The code is in the Insert Data Tables, py file. As always, the code run starts with the main function. The try block passes the arguments and gets the name of the mapping file. The mapping file has a mapping of the database table name with the data file name. For example, the data from the file customers.csv should go into the database table customers. The program reads the mapping file to extract the table names and the corresponding data file names. Before the data is inserted, the report table records function will tell us the number of records in each table in the database. This is done via a select count query on each table. The insert data function is the heart of this program. It loops through all the tables and reads the corresponding data file. This data is written to the database table via the copy from function. Finally, the count of records in each table is reported again. Great, we are done here. Today we used Python to write the data from your computer to an ElephantSQL database instance. To accomplish this, we did the following. Prepare the data according to the database table schema. Write the data to database on ElephantSQL database using Python. I hope that was fun. Do watch my other video, with more details on how to create a database table schema on ElephantSQL. Thanks for watching.